Here we go, back by popular demand, a pod full of saints. Apologies for not being one last week. The empty pod. I would say it's down to technical difficulties, but it wasn't. Anyway, we're back and we are flowing today. It means we've got 3 games to look back on instead of 2. With myself, David Tavener, and of course the ever smiling and ever present, Jake Ellacott.
Hello, Dave. Yes, Lee posted on the Twitter account. We couldn't do it last week because I was busy somewhere in the White Swan, still recovering from us winning against Hampton. So, hello everyone. How are you all doing?
I've got you down as washing your hair. Cross that out.
Thank
And
you.
a good evening, Lee Wood.
It's as though we've never been away, fellas. Look at us, eh? 3 Musketeers. Beautiful. Let's get on with it.
Well, of course, what we missed last week was the scintillating news that St Albans City won a game. And as you intimated there, Jake's been celebrating the last 2 weeks on the back of that. But my God, what an awful game. A City player present at the game, a former City player, described it as the worst City side that he's seen at this level. And some of the comments that have been sent to me on Facebook or wherever these things turn up nowadays, he wasn't the only one to say that. It was interesting. What that match did, it was Nobby tearing up his manual, shredding his manual of the way football should be played. Because that was an un-Nobby-like performance, and certainly last night was at Slough, which we'll come on to later. The passing along the back line and back to Michael Johnson, that didn't happen. It was big boot. It wasn't long passing to 3 forwards. Bearing in mind, Nobby seldom puts 1 on the pitch. 3 forwards, it was big boot, and it was just messy. They had no chance. The service was abysmal. The Twitter guy's got either a sense of humour or wasn't watching the right game, because he described it as a deserved win. But we only had one shot on target, and if it had not hit the underneath or the calf of Jerry Wiltshire's outstretched leg, then the keeper, Kai Crampton, would have saved it. Now, that was a 17-year-old making his debut. Talk about diminutive. He's a small goalkeeper. And so you'd have thought, right, we've got some experienced players out there. We pepper him with shots, testing what he's like. So we peppered him with 1 deflected shot on target all day. It was pathetic. But credit to the defence, they battled really hard. That said, Hampton still at the crossbar. A good effort by Alfie Williams. Sean Jeffers cleared one off the goal line, and Michael Johnson made a good save with his legs. Otherwise, we would have come home pointless. And as Hampton, they admitted they weren't at their best. They would have got the points they actually deserved. What did you make of it, Jake? Any of that correspond with what you saw?
Yeah, it wasn't a vintage City display, was it? To be honest, it was 1 shot, 1 goal, and we were all very happy with that. To be honest, yeah, it was. It wasn't great. It wasn't. It was 2 poor sides, I thought, and we didn't deserve to win. But we showed a little bit of fight at Hampton. I thought, especially defensively. I thought Deon Woodman coming in for his league debut made quite a good few tackles, but especially blocks in the box that worked well. And yeah, there just seemed to be a bit of fight in the team at Hampton. It was quite nice to see. That's it, really. Unfortunately,
Yeah. Maybe the best thing was the support off the pitch.
yes.
It was magnificent, and I was going to include a clip on it in last week's podcast of the fans, because they were fantastic. But a lot of them are not really regarded as proper City supporters. Kids from Garston, they go to a lot of Watford games, and they come to us occasionally, apparently. And but my God, they did create a great atmosphere, and you were in amongst it, Jake, pushing your flags around.
Yeah, you got a few glamorous photos of me trying to put flags up for about 20 minutes. Yeah, it was great support. And I say there was a lot of young kids, and we have picked up a lot. We've talked about a lot in the last couple of years. We have picked up a lot who support clubs higher up. And if they want to come City, that's fine. If they want to get behind us, I don't mind mind that at all. And they were led sort of by the more experienced and the slightly older, and more the City fans that go most weeks. But it was brilliant support, and I thought you could see at the celebrations at the end how much the players and the management appreciated how much the fans got behind them, especially in the second half.
It was great, and they did give Nobby a good hand as well, and he joined in with it as well, which is fine. Now pay back, give the supporters something really worth cheering, not stolen victories like that one. Right, we'll move on from you celebrating our 318th 1-0 win, Jake. To last Saturday, Welling United, Nobby stuck with the same starting 11. Confidence in that gritty performance at Hampton. Did the players repay him with another gritty performance?
I'd like to see Lee lead on this one. To be
Yeah, you throw me in there, mate, wouldn't you? Jesus Christ. I mean, did you enjoy this one as much as you did enjoy Hampton, Tabs? I don't think it sounds it, to be brutally honest with you, fella. Yeah, this is what we spoke about. Our undoing all season has been consistency, right? And I was walking around. I think I was changing ends before the game starts. Bumped into a couple of the old timers, one of whom, suggested, "Oh, I suppose you're still Nobby out, are you?" I said, "Well, it's not going too great, mate, is it really? You know, if you're basking out on a 1-0 win away to Hampton." And he suggested, and then there's another one suggesting, "Why are you wasting your money coming to a game where we're going to lose?" I'm thinking to myself, I mean, this is just a whole mindset of some fans at the minute. They're almost wanting us to lose. Listen, I work hard and I'm quite creative, and I can think of more elaborate ways to piss away my money than go and pay £16.50 to go watch us lose every other Saturday. That said, Tavs, the results didn't disappoint, did it? I mean, yet again, we just couldn't follow it up. What I would say is that first half, we got what we deserved. Absolutely nothing. I thought we were atrocious. And for the Welling goal, I thought we were carved open far too easily. Offside or not, the fact that a fellow was away, they could get 2 or 3 passes in between our back line just says everything you need to know about just how confident and how strong they are at the minute as a unit. Second half was better. And yes, there was a bit of purpose to us, but the delivery, again, this is it, isn't it? We're almost there with it. We're almost there with that ball inside the fullback. We're almost there with that final quality across. We lack quality when in the danger areas. We had apart from the fact that MJ went walkies halfway through the second half and almost gifted them a second goal, which would have definitely put the whole game to bed. I thought we were okay. We were certainly better. We looked a bit more pressing. We looked to attack with a bit more purpose. And, I mean, I know that Sean has got berated this season for the quality of his finishing, but Ken Charles at the back post, open goal with about 2 yards out. You've got to be finishing those, right?
Yeah, he got a lucky break the week before. He certainly didn't get one on Saturday. Welling were really the ideal opposition for us coming off the Hampton game. It's a side out of form. We're unbeaten in the last 6 games against them. Previous 7 National League games, they'd lost 6 of them. The win was 2-0 against Torquay. They got stuffed 6-0 at Boreham Wood in a run of 4 straight defeats. Lost to Chatham Town, Isthmian League Premier Division side in the FA Cup. And who loses to lower league opposition in the FA Cup? And you got Rod Stringer as manager. 8 previous times he's managed clubs, ranging from Braintree, Bishop Stortford, Chelmsford, and now Welling at Clarence Park. Not won any of those 8 games. And his record was 2 wins in 14 league games against us as a manager. So everything was set up ideally for us. What could go wrong? Nobby played with the same 11 at Hampton. But exactly what you said there, Lee. It was lack of quality. It was lethargic. There was no zip to really put Welling under pressure. And they are a modest side, yet they look comfortable. Dave Winfield was dominant in the air at the back, as you would expect. But we just, the balls into the box were shocking. And Nobby complained about quality. Well, I'm sorry, Nobby, but you signed these players, or is it the scouts, or is it the head of football, or is it man in the background we don't know about who brings these players in? If you're going to complain about their quality, well, you brought them in. But I don't know, maybe we just let down badly on the day, but it's not the only time this season, is it? When quality, getting into good position, just hasn't been there. Time to let Jake loose.
Oh, no. I thought Lee touched upon very early on there was the defence in that first half. It was really awful. And I thought that first half display across the board was really quite dreadful. I got the back off that Hampton game. It wasn't great. We had some spirits. We had a little bit of momentum. We had something. And then just honestly, that first half was atrocious. And defensively, it's really poor. I thought we probably deserved to be 2 or 3 goals behind at half time, if we're honest. Welling had a couple of decent opportunities. They didn't convert. They had their one goal, and then after that, didn't quite make the most. Second half, it was better, but it wasn't exactly inspiring, was it? It was again a lot of sideways passing, and you both touched upon that lack of urgency there. I think that was a key bit. We weren't able to expose Welling at all. Dave Winfield, he's a good operator at this level. He's been in good teams, but he's not renowned for his pace, is he? You can get behind that Welling back line, as most teams have shown this season. We just couldn't. We couldn't do it. And the delivery in wasn't great. Slightly better when Matt Lench came on, but again, I don't think he could operate to his level because the players around him weren't. Zane Banton again tried a little bit more when he came on, and I thought maybe he should have come on earlier. But the front three of Evans, Jefferson, Charles, just they didn't have any service, but they also weren't making the runs or doing any of the hard work up front either for people to feed it. So I thought across the board, everyone was poor. No one could really come out with it with any sort of positivity at all on Saturday. It was just a really poor display.
You mentioned Matt Lench's debut coming on at half time. 32 years old, experienced midfielder, well known in National League South. And I was watching that second half and I thought, is he giving us a great deal more than Alfie Payne, who hasn't shone at all this season? Really hasn't. Not in my eyes. Some people might think he has, but I don't think he has. But you could see Matt's got a bit of class. And we'll come on to his performance last night at Slough in a while. It was on a different level. It was just so a performance we've seen so many times home this season on Saturday. You both mentioned the first half. After Saturday, out of 10 games, only one of them we'd scored in the first half. And that's not a coincidence. There's something going badly wrong there. Are we too cautious in the first half? We don't want to fall behind. In Nobby's first spell as manager, most of the goals came in the second half. It was a bit more marginal than it is this year. But again, most of his goals in the second half rather than first. We're just not getting at opposition early, and we're giving them a chance to get at us, and our confidence is low. Somebody said it was Saturday. This looks like a side low on confidence. You wouldn't believe it when you saw it last night. But if they are decent players, and people keep saying we have got a lot of decent players there, their confidence looks shot to pieces.
It does, and to be fair, once you're walking behind the back of the stand at half time, by all accounts, you know, the noise coming out of the home changing room was just Nobby absolutely screaming at the players, you know, just vomit-inducing. So, I mean, we heard a little bit of taste of that after the away defeat at Dorking early on in the season, but this was at half time and literally screaming. You know, don't want to put words in your mouth, Jake, but, you know, you were sort of quite shocked at how sort of early and how intense it was, you know, given the state of the game, still a whole half to go, but he obviously wasn't a happy man. And yeah, okay, the players gave him some sort of response in the second half. But what I would say, Tabs, is that, you know, going back to the ex-player who claims that we're the worst side at this level, I mean, to be honest with you, I think the players are there. You know, you and I can go back to the likes of Frank McCormack and Steve Butler and Chris McMenamin and all that lot. Not a touch on any of these players here. But there was a unity and something there, and a shape that the manager believed in, and we got results on a weekly basis. This is a whole new ball game now. The game has evolved so much. We know nobody wants to have that possession football. But how long must we endure defeat after defeat until actually... The one thing I would say is that Nobby's evolving his mentality to sort of try and change the outcome of these games. I don't think he wants to disband his theory entirely. I think that would be, you know, almost admitting defeat first and foremost. But I think he is trying. You know, the owners are backing him up by giving him some new players to play with. He's gone 2 up top. He's gone 3 up top. He's gone 1 up top. He is trying different things, but unfortunately, the outcome, bar last night, is still the same. But again, how do we progress now? Because I don't think he knows what his best team is, let alone his formation. And it's just really frustrating because it was another decent crowd, Tabs, right? You got all these people go, all right, fair enough. A lot of them aren't even watching a bloody game, but that's right. You pay your money, you do whatever you want. But that said, you pay your money, you can say what you want within reason. The voices of discontent after that whistle on Saturday, they were loud. And Nobby's reaction, I think, on the pitch said it all. You know, he stood up to the fans. He faced it. He didn't shy away from the fact and their disgruntlement. And it was very difficult to sort of defend any of the comments coming from the terraces on Saturday.
Oh, 100%. Nobby doesn't help himself in his interviews, as we know. And I just got to put my finger in my ear there. And when he comes out with a comment, we've been in 99% of our games, we've been the better side. I mean, he's going to create a record as the first manager to go down as the best side in 45 out of 46 games, which is not going to happen, of course. But he's not being realistic at times and slagging off the players. Jake heard it at half time rather than talking tactics, from what Jake can allude to himself in a minute. Did it get that response? It was a muted response, wasn't it? You felt Welling just dropped back. They thought St Albans don't score goals, particularly at home. We're going to soak this up. And they did soak it up. And as you say, MJ tried his damnedest to give him a second one. He did it again last night, by the way. But he's making good saves as well. He's cancelling it out. It's just everything about it was wrong. And maybe Nobby shouldn't have been swayed by the result at Hampton so much and should have thought, no, it wasn't right. We need to make changes. But maybe that's a wonder of hindsight. Come on, Jake, what happened at half time?
Well, I'd just say, a lot of Saints fans were walking behind the alleyway, behind the changing rooms, behind the clubhouse, and you could just hear the changing room and what David Noble was saying. It's a lot of screaming, as Lee said, and I think a lot of fans were quite shocked by it, to be honest. You could hear it very clearly. So I think a lot of the fans that heard it going to the second half thought, oh, God, what's going to happen here? And obviously it didn't get a reaction, did it, really, at all? I think we were improved, but apart from that Ken Charles chance, not much else happened. And if we'd scored that Ken Charles chances, would we have actually gone on to win that game? I can't say I was confident that we would have, purely based upon how we kept playing. As you said, Welling sat back, and they were quite comfortably sat back in the end. We didn't pepper the goal, and they should have added that second late on when Michael Johnson entered a different postcode. So it wasn't great at all in that second half. And I thought, again, looking at the touchline, looking at the subs and the subs we made, just none of it really worked. There didn't seem to be any energy coming from the touchline. There was nothing there. It was just really, really poor. And I think, Lee, as you alluded there, the atmosphere in that last 20 minutes, it was almost somber, quite toxic. Yeah. Around the ground, it was really poor. And it was definitely, not the worst, but most somber I've felt Clarence Park in quite a while in terms of the fans around me and the opinions of where is this season drifting to now. And, come the end of the game, we'd undone all that good work at Hampton, and we were then 7 points adrift.
Well, it was shocking, wasn't it? There was even crowd trouble, but it was in the director's box.
What have you heard, Tabs? You can't leave that little nugget in there, mate. You have to give us a bit more meat on that bone.
Well, we all saw it. Rod Stringer, previously mentioned, the manager of Welling United, serving a touchline ban. Hard to believe, I know. So he was up in the director's area, apparently, and offering instructions. And he was told to quieten down, I believe, by one of our chaps. And it kicked off from there, didn't it? I don't know exactly what happened after that, but you saw stewards going in there. There's a lot of bodies moving around it. Certainly more movement there than there was just outside their penalty area.
Are you sure there was like a kerfuffle or was Nocky just sort of getting first in line for another plate of Chicken George? You spoke there, Jake, about Ken Charles's miss, mate, and it was quite telling because when he first came into the side, he got a couple of goals against Hayes and Yedding, and then everyone was sort of really excited by that. And I think his performances have sort of shone more than his goal-scoring exploits, but that miss on Saturday really, really did cost us. And I don't think you'll be sort of seeing that on his Instagram and TikTok feed anytime soon. But again, this comes back to what you're saying, Tabs. There's just that lack of quality in there. He's got all the attributes. He's got the speed. He's got the awareness. And at times, he's got a little bit of strength in there as well. But he's there to score goals. And if that was Sean Jeffers missing that chance, you can imagine, all the naysayers would be soon on Sean's back for that sort of chance. But this is just where we are. Confidence is low, fellas. Confidence is low.
It's funny, isn't it? the FA Cup tie against Galston, Nobby went for one up front against lower
I
league
just got that out of
opposition.
my bloody head, Tavener. It's taken me 3 weeks, mate. Go on, sorry, buddy.
And
Sorry.
yeah, in these two games, Hampton and Welling, he's gone for three up front, which is totally against, say, his now shredded manual. And you just think, why didn't you do it in the FA Cup? You've cost us. You really have cost us by not being bold. But anyway, he's now gone for three up front. Until last night, I think we're ready to move on, aren't we? And brighten things up a bit. Nobby made 4 changes. Out went Alfie Payne, dropped down to the bench. Out went Partington, presumably rested, dropped, whatever you want to call it. Poor old boy can't play 2 games in 3 or 4 days now. Joe Partington, actually, I thought he had a decent game Saturday. His passing was controlled, it was measured, and he used the ball well. Makise Evans, Nobby decided to just go for 2 up front. Makise paid the price. He went down to the bench, and the way he played Saturday, I don't think he can complain too much. And George Hoddle was also missing, apparently injured. It would have been nice to have a match pack Twitter thing and bothered to keep supporters informed and when players were injured, but he doesn't believe in doing that sort of thing anymore. So there's 4 changes from Saturday's side. But it might have been about 200 changes because it was a totally different performance, Jake, wasn't it? From the start, we were on the front foot.
Yeah, I mean, if someone would like to return the Stormwood City that we've seen up to now this season, because they went missing on Tuesday night and were replaced by what wasn't far off a good team.
Keep them.
Yeah. I don't know what happened. It was brilliant. Well, I say brilliant because we've had so little else this season to enjoy footballing wise. It was really, really good. That first half, we started like a train, and a lot of fans talked around me. Everyone was just saying how much more direct we were. Not necessarily long balls pumping forward from Michael Johnson that are drifting off. It was long balls. It was direct football. It was looking forward. So I was watching a bit of football the other day. The Bunch of Amateurs documentary that's followed Dorking on YouTube, and they were showing their game down at Weston. And Weston-super-Mare, every time they get the ball in the field, turn and just look forward straight away. Whatever kind of ball it is, forward. And that's what we were doing on Tuesday night. I think a lot of that came down to Matt Lench in the middle, but the other players in the team were doing it as well. And that first half, maybe at least first 25 minutes, it was a totally different style of play to what we've seen all season. Is that fair to say, Dave?
It was getting it forward. Why you said it there, Jake, using the Western-super-Mare role model, suggested it was just hit blindly. It wasn't, was it? It was good passing to players. It was along the deck because of grass, plastic pitch, and there were longer ones in the air as well. They were doing it. They kept looking out to try and do Tafari Mooring down our left. They put him under a lot of pressure. But we were doing good passing. It was a joy to see. And you bear in mind, Hampton, 1 shot on target. Welling, we had 1 shot on target. We'd had 2 on target in about the first minute, hadn't we, last night? And that first goal, 18 minutes, Deon Woodman, our 1,000th goal in National League and National League South, by the way. What a wonderful header. But totally unchallenged. So thanks very much, Slough. That goal, as I said, Jake, had been coming.
And a delivery into a dangerous area in the box.
Yes.
I think we've actually found someone that can put a cross in. I mean, what do we do about that? Do we celebrate? Do we get the bus out? It's unbelievable. Matt Lench, you can cross. Please stay forever. It was a great goal, and it's great for Deon Woodman. And we've had players that can win headers, but they just haven't had the balls to actually get to them this season. So he is a threat in the box. Brilliant header, and I thought it was much deserved at the time.
Yeah, it does help when the defenders don't bother to jump with you. If that was down the other end, I think Nobby's finger would have been in his ear even longer. It's unfortunate. They got a fairly quick equaliser. Wonderful strike, good run. You could question why wasn't he challenged properly, but excellent strike at the end of it, in off a post. And it just set up a cracking first half. Did we have a better number of chances? Probably. Yeah. But it's such a rare thing to go to a City game and enjoy it. And Matt Lench had a few mentions. He was superb. He knows Arbour Park like the back of his hand. Just play short, just on under 250 games for the Rebels. And you can see why some of their supporters are disappointed he's gone. He was what we've been missing all season. He can play the ball across the pitch, but he was putting lovely balls, forward passes. And as you mentioned, he's dead ball delivery from the set pieces. Well, we've done last season and a half, 2 seasons. Our set pieces have mostly been absolutely awful. He stopped this nonsense of going short. Most of them went into the box corners and they caused trouble. And well, we should be managers, shouldn't we? It's the sort of football we've been crying out for ages.
Not sure about that. Yeah, I thought Lench was a big difference in midfield. He took control of it. I don't know if it was just him. I think every player seemed to have a much better mindset and attitude last night, not just Lench. I'm sure he didn't just carry the whole team on his own because everyone else in the team looked much better. But the players around him as well seemed to follow his lead in that style of play. I thought Zane Banton impressed as captain as well. I thought he really stood up in that role. And everyone just seemed to be enjoying their football last night, I thought. And that was quite nice to see. We've not seen the City team enjoy the football this season, I think it's fair to say. And at times we caused a lot of trouble. You say we did have the better chances. And, Horlock in the Slough goal was quite busy at times, wasn't he? He had to make some decent stops. And we saw players actually having shots from range as well. Lench had a couple. Rasulo even had a couple. It was
really?
I know, it was so refreshing. It's a miracle, Lee.
Yes, Charlie Horlock in goal for Slough Town, former Hitchin goalkeepers at both ends of the pitch, of course. And another change, Josh Castiglione going into a more central position now, which suits him a lot better than being out wide. His delivery just isn't up to it. It's no, the quality just isn't there. It still has more to come. It's remarkable. What's his statistic? In 13 starts in the league, he's been subbed 10 times now. So that's 10 or something. He was subbed 10 times in 16 games, 16 starts for Chelmsford last season. But as I say, last night I thought we saw a lot better from him. And you mentioned a lot of the players. They did pick up Gio Rasulu, still gave the ball away a few too many times with careless passing. But
really?
But he's getting back. He's getting back to somewhere close to where we'd like to see him. But I don't really want to put a down at all on any of them because it was just so entertaining. It's by far the most entertaining game this season.
Yeah. One thing I would say is, sorry, Joe. One thing I would say is that because we're down there, right, and we are scrapping, we've got to work that much harder to turn, to come away with wins now. You know what I mean? But I get the feeling, although I wasn't there, I do get the feeling from what all of you lads have said and the messages that have been popping up on our WhatsApp feed that we've got that bit of grit now. We've got that something about us now, and hopefully we are trying to work our way through the issues and get ourselves into a position of winning games. And that hasn't always been the case this season, boys. It really hasn't. But look, we've got the perfect opportunity now to build on this momentum. We said about momentum, we said about continuity and consistency. We've got this platform now. There's something there. And Lench, yes, okay. And it would have taken something special for him to be dragged away from 251 appearances, Tabs, at Slough. And he must see something in this team. The Slough manager was exemplary, sort of complimentary about us last night. He said, we aren't going to be down there for long. We've got some of the best players in our positions. That's great. They've not played like it up until this point, but maybe this is the turning point now. Yeah, Jake, you laugh, mate, but come on. We are where we are out of it's not we're not unlucky to be second bottom on 6 points from 13 games. We've played like an absolute bunch of tossers for most of this season, but now hopefully we can get this by the absolute Jacobs and really kick on because we have got good players. We've got fantastic players, and if we can just mould this together, we've got a couple of good games coming up now where we can really look at this and sort of capitalise going forward.
Of course, before joining us, Lench hadn't played before this season due to injury, and it was Slough that released him rather than he left willingly. And thank you very much indeed. We'll happily take that. Of course, it's player manager Scott Davis who let him go. He's got a great reputation from free kicks, and he hit one lovely free kick. I think it's just about landed now, isn't it, Jake?
Yes, I think it's fair to say he got a bit of stick from some of the City fans after that one when he came over. When he was just about to manage to get back for every corner, where it's fair to say he was struggling a little bit towards the end, Scott. So please forgive any of us or any of the City fans that were suggesting you should retire.
I thought one moment that really highlighted the change in St Albans City now from St Albans City David Noble's ideal model was our second goal. God knows how many passes it was. I sent you both a clip of it from my video of it. But we got the ball over on a far touchline from ours, and Slough were trying to force us back and back. Now, a few weeks ago, that ball would have gone back. It would have gone back to the halfway line. It would have gone along the halfway line a couple of times, and possibly even back to Michael Johnson back late in the game because we'd settle for a point. This time it didn't. We kept it probably midway in their half as we worked it across, and two good runners down the right hand side, Jack James and Romeo Akinola, got themselves into good positions with space. And it was a case of keeping the pressure on. This is so alien to the way we played before under Nobby. And if he's going to carry on like that now, he's going to get fans back on his side if it produces goals like it did last night. And Makise Evans, given plenty of space, it must be said, to get the ball under control, turn and drill it into the net.
Yeah, it's a good finish, a really good goal. Watching it back on the clip you sent, I didn't realise how many passes. And I think what was really noticeable was actually we won the ball really far up the pitch in Sloughs at the start of that. We haven't done that a lot this season. We've sat back even without the ball, but we put the pressure on late on in the game, and it worked. And if we keep carrying this on, we'll start to pick up results. It was really good. Good finish. I think that's why you need someone on the bench like Evans, maybe not starting, but someone who can come on and can have an impact. And brilliant celebrations at the end. I think it's fair to say most of us thought that was the winner.
Well, the two times we lost the lead, you never really felt we were going to lose the match because we were competing so well. All right, their second equaliser was into injury time, and Michael Johnson got booked for a somewhat strenuous appeal to the linesman and the referee about it being offside. Need to see the other video for that. But what about you, Lee? You weren't at the game, so following it, did you think you must have been hearing we were playing quite well. Did you feel, it's only a matter of time till it goes wrong, especially once Slough equalised?
I was actually listening to the first half with the dad of Enter Shikari, lead singer. So we were like, you sort of listen to it. But then obviously my WhatsApp is a bit ahead of the commentary and the Twitter feed that was sort of coming through. So once I heard we were 2-1, I'm thinking, yes, I told Tabs we'd win 2-1. Bloody get in. And then literally within about a second of the tweet coming up, someone on our WhatsApp said, it's 2-all. I'm like, are you kidding me? You know, and it sounded like an amazing game. But I want to put the point to you, Tabs, actually. You know, are we sort of luring ourselves? Are we sort of gearing ourselves up for a big fall? Because a week is a long time in football. Imagine, you know, last Saturday, just how despondent we were at the end of that game. And yet 4 days later, we're on such a high, a stark contrast in such a small space of time. Come this Saturday, it's back at the park again, you know, where we haven't performed really at all season. Can we carry that on? Because, you know, Lench sounds as though he's the second coming of Zidane by all accounts. And, you know, we're going to need him because, you know, Bath, they've picked up results after a poor start. And this all now feeds into the consistency thing again, doesn't it? It's going to be another big crowd. But can we deliver when it matters most at home?
Bath City are not in the best of form at the moment. They've got players out through injury. They've had a couple of draws in their last two games, nothing particularly impressive. And my contact down there, he's not impressed by the football at all this season. Jerry Gill's not got them playing sort of football they're more renowned for. They are struggling a bit. He's like Welling game, really, in many ways, coming on the back. And it wasn't a good performance, Hampton, but it's a good win. It was a boost we should have needed, and we couldn't build on it. We went backwards against Welling, no two ways about it. This time, we didn't win Tuesday, but there's so much to admire about that performance, the way we played. They've got to carry that into a home game now, not be negative, not try and just keep possession. Got to take chances, press forward. And Bath, at the moment, they are shaky. Their confidence isn't high either, from what I've been told. And it's a good time to be playing them. Don't be scared of them. Impose ourselves, just like we did at Slough last night, and you may well get the rewards.
Oh,
I do agree. I don't think there's any excuse not to perform at least very similarly to how we did on Tuesday night on Saturday. You have to. You have to go out there and apply yourself exactly the same. And if we do, we've got a decent chance. I said Bath have been shaky. They've been disappointing this season, I think, compared to what they expected. So we've got to go out there confident. And if we can play in that same fast, quick style, take control of the midfield, then why can't we win on Saturday? I know we're all going to look like idiots when we do lose, but why not?
Well, they got a shocking record, 15 points so far this season from 12 games. So, hang on.
Oh.
All right, just delete that.
Yeah, but they drew with Weymouth on Tuesday night. You know, come on, even we haven't managed that yet.
Give us time. Give us time.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I think everybody's encouraged. No one's down after that. Even the late goal hasn't taken the shine off it. It was such a good, entertaining game. A draw was fair, and so many positives to come from it.
Yeah, and Slough are a good team. It was a decent result against a good team who've got a good record there as well at home. They have, and
Oh yeah,
again, really good support from the travelling Saints fans. You know, it wasn't as many as Hampton, but it was very vocal, getting behind the team again from the off on Tuesday night. And I think it's one thing you can't question this season is the City support throughout, at home and away, has been really, really good. And I think anyone that says otherwise, I don't understand why. It's been really good, despite the football we've seen. And hopefully that'll carry on. And if the lads perform like they do, then the Saints fans will be even more loud, even more behind the team, because we all want to get out of this situation. Whoever's in charge, whoever's in the team, we just don't want to be in the bottom four, and we're all behind them throughout the game.
you mentioned Slough's home record there, Jake. Fantastic, isn't it? What one defeat in just over a year when he lost to some team called Hemel Town. Didn't they used to be near the top of the table?
Very good, very good. We could dream of a home record like that, Dave. It's been a few years since we played anything like that at home.
Yeah, yeah. I remember one season, was it 70, 71? We lost.
Oh,
Who did we lose at home to? Was it Woking the final day of the season, the first home league defeat of the season? I may be wrong. Anyway, there we go. That's last night done. Unless you two got anything else you want to chuck in?
no, just more of that, please.
More about. I will chuck one in actually. We mentioned Michael Johnson getting booked. Gio Rasulu's booking. Well, I played it back on my video. He's so unlucky. 3 players went in for a bouncing ball. The referee decided he was the biggest culprit. But I think he kicked his own man. I don't think he even touched a Slough player.
To be fair, Gio, he was always going to kick someone, wasn't he? So, like, the law of averages would suggest it was going to be one of theirs or one of us. So there we go. But look, I have to say, I'm looking forward to a new revamped Gio because he's been truly woeful this season. Carrying on from the latter end of last, to be fair. So we know he's a good player. But then again, this is the tale of our tape, isn't it? We've got good players, they're just not performing. Sounds though that our last night is maybe at the catalyst of something good to come.
So we're looking forward to Saturday, Bath City down the park.
Yeah.
If George Hoddle is available, because I think you're saying his loan's up for renewal or ending pretty soon. Originally at the start, he wanted to stay longer, I think. What do we do if he's fit? Does he come straight back into the side for that possibly final game, or does it nobody go with what we saw last night?
I'd be hesitant to change anything myself.
Ooh.
I mean, Hoddle we know is on loan. I suppose a big question mark's over Alfie Payne. You know, he was our big summer signing, wasn't he? Or one of them. Can he get back into this team now? But I myself, I don't think I'd want to change anything for Saturday. We played so well on Tuesday night. Lee, you're disagreeing. What would you do?
You can't leave out Georgie Hoddle. Surely you can't.
Georgie Hoddle.
No, you can't. I mean, the fact is, if it is as like, and if he's fit, I think this is the key thing, isn't it? I mean, you've got to squeeze him in. You play your best players. You play your best players, and I don't think he's reached the heights of his first visit to Clarence Park. But again, you've got to give him time. He was coming back from an injury himself, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But surely you squeeze him in. You know, you've brought him in to influence games, and he has done really well. You know, he has looked. He's looked as though he can create stuff. He is the nucleus of our sort of driving forward. Go on, Tabs, mate.
Go on then, Lee. You bring him back in. So you're
Yeah.
looking at central midfielder. So you're looking at Josh.
Yeah.
Or you're looking at Gio. You're certainly not looking at Matt Lench. So one of those two would have to go, presumably.
Yeah, possibly. You're looking at Josh there. You know, you're trying to sort of shoehorn Josh into a situation which wasn't necessarily his favourite position. But again, then you're looking to shoehorn George Hoddle in, not on you. But then, you know, George Hoddle, forgive me, you know, you'd have him over sort of Josh 9 times out of 10. But again, Jake, I see value in your point, mate. You know, you don't change a side that has performed like the way they did against Slough, a team where not too many you know, places are going to sort of go and sort of take points away. But I think you have to play your best players. And I think listening to both of you there, just how promising it was on Tuesday night, maybe we just go for the throat against Bath. Yes, they are, you know, not in great form, but form hasn't been our friend at home either. So maybe we got a, you know, it's a balancing act, isn't it? But that's why Nobby gets paid the thousands of pounds to manage this great club and to make all these decisions on our behalf. How about you, Tavs? Hoddle in, or do you leave him more on the bench to sort of come on and make an impact that way?
If it's his final game before his loan is up, then I'm reluctant to change it. If he's here for a while, I'd be more inclined to bring him back in. But you want to build on that performance. Hampton, you weren't building on a good performance. You were building on a good, much-needed win, but a god-awful performance. This time, you're looking to build on a good performance. It's a completely different situation. Why damage a player's confidence by changing it? A bit disappointed substitutions late in the game, taking Matt Lench off, bringing Ben Smith on. You're trying to play down the clock, and it backfired. They got a goal straight after it. Just leave it. Just leave it. You're doing all right. Ease the pressure on them, perhaps taking Lenchy off. But I'm not going to be a big criticism of that. I just felt it was an unnecessary substitution. He got away with it, taking Sean off, who was having a decent game. Maybe it wasn't a big threat in front of goal, but he was playing well within the team. So he got him off and got Makise on. That paid off. But, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's as simple as that, isn't it, with substitutions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Prediction time, boys. Here we go. Come on. Well, I want to go 3-0.
We're not going to score.
David.
Okay, 3-0.
3-0 to St Albans. Thank you. Say it.
No.
Say it.
2-1 Saints.
We've gone for a 1-0 defeat the last 2 games, Jake.
And doesn't that mean I therefore got one of the scorelines correct, Dave?
No, you lose 3 points for going against us.
At home to Welling United, I said 1-0 off of this podcast. It wasn't recorded, but I've got the text saved. But yes, it seems we're not counting that. I mean, yeah, my reverse psychology did work against Hampton. I said we'd lose, and I know we'd win. So, but 2-1 Saturday, easy.
You know we'd yeah. I'm going to give Bath a little bit of credit for Saturday, so we're just sneaking 3-1 win.
Obviously, that means we're going to get absolutely dicked on now on Saturday. I mean,
not being funny, but we kind of need to get a result, don't we? We need to win, so it would be nice.
It was interesting. I was having a really quick chat with the owner in the bar after the game, and it was I don't know. This Zen moment. He appreciates that we're in a little bit of trouble, but you know, there's just this remarkable belief that it's okay. You know, things are going to turn out for the best, and it was real sort of like palatable stuff just to sort of listen to. He's very zen, very calm, very balanced. He's not under no illusions just how much of a situation we're in. But I think he was just, you know, just believe in the process, trust the data, and all that jazz, and the plans will come good. And no, because
it's nonsense. It's if you stick with what we were doing, we get the nonsense that Nobby served up for the first 13 games of the season, whatever. He's changed it the last few games, totally changed it. And if we get out of trouble, playing as we did last night, I've got no problem at all. Nobby, keep playing that way, you get support. Go back to the boring nonsense, negative rubbish serving up before. and that support has gone immediately. If we get out of trouble playing this way, Lee, great, everyone's happy. People who want to see good football, they're happy. People who want us to stay up, they're happy. People who want to see City win, they're happy.
Let's face it, Taz, if you're happy, the whole world is happy. And that's what's very important in all of this.
That's very true. And
I tell you who wasn't happy, people who watched the pod last week. We got complaints. I got people accosting me on Saturday saying, where's the bloody pod? And listen, we're allowed to have a week off. You know? When things that are sort of, researched and produced in such flawless fashion as this podcast is, you have to sort of, give it sort of time to manifest itself. It's fine.
Big Tony, we're back. You probably noticed, so you'll be happy as well, which is good news. But, if people don't behave, we'll do his pods double length.
Lee, we even had one fan.
I know what's coming in. I know what's coming.
Say, what do we pay you for? I mean, I'm awaiting those payments, Owen. Please, if you want bank details, just get in contact. On that positive note, this episode's been so positive. Oh my God.
You'll never laugh.
Yes, yeah. Podful of Saints at Twitter, email description below. Get in contact. Let us know your thoughts and feelings. Thank you all very much for watching as always, and we will hopefully be back again next week after the Saints pick up some result against Bath. Hopefully a win. Whatever we'll do. Go on, Dave.
Yes, we can reflect on our 614th game in October.
Well, on that note, come on, you Saints. Thank you very much, everyone.
That's
goodbye.
Romeo! Oh, Romeo!